Gang, the coronavirus has proven that it's going to be here for a while. The nasal swab tests are hard to get and very expensive. Well, our friends at Pro Results are doing rapid COVID-19 antibody testing to let you know if you have had the virus. They take cash or credit, no insurance needed, no doctor appointment required, and you get your results in 15 minutes. Tell them you heard about them on How Did I Get Here and receive 15% off of your tests. Just go to ProResultsAustin.com/HDIGH or follow the link in the text of this podcast for 15% off antibody testing for COVID-19.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right, hello. I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys are hanging tough, man. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're sane. It's a tough time, man. You know, looking back now, almost 2 months after the murder of George Floyd, there's still daily protests in Portland. People are still wanting to get rid of statues. People are making some moves. We've seen the changes here in Austin with the Blues on the Screen thing, mostly with Jackie Venson speaking out and curating an all-black Blues on the Screen show. And nationally, we've seen some monuments come down. We've seen that the Pentagon is going to change some base names or fort names or whatever they are. And how much change is actually happening? Is it going to keep on going? Are we stuck in this thing? Because today's guest, Audrey Campbell from punk band Pleasure Venom, was on the show last year in September. She was on episode 837. They were on episode 837. I think the whole band was here. There was a number of members of the band here. Today it's just Audrey Campbell. But I want to play you a little bit of episode 837 from September 2019 because the conversation started off on this exact subject that we've been covering here on How Did I Get Here? The treatment of black people in America, the inequality, and being fucking tired of it. So before we get into the conversation with Audrey Campbell from Pleasure Venom that I had with her last week, let's listen to a little bit of episode 837 with Pleasure Venom from September 2019 of whatever this is called, whatever they'll call this when they look back in history.
I know, right? It's going to be weird.
I mean, the crazy time makes sense. There's like the Gilded Age, the Industrial Age, the Crazy Time.
The racist fucked up age.
Yeah.
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 I feel like that's been going on a while, though.
Sure. Yeah, that we can call that a lot of America time.
Yeah, the internet's kind of just highlighted it, but
Well,
it's always been kind of like...
Racist fucked up age.
I don't think police harassment and shit like that or ICE or whatever, it's always kind of been a thing. It's just... people have their phones now, so it's just easier to catch it, and I don't know. It's pretty
absolutely.
It's bad. I don't know. It feels really fucked up times, kind of.
You can go back and listen to episode 837 with Pleasure Venom. Fantastic band, man. They have 3 EPs out. They're gorgeous. They did a tour of the UK after we did episode 37. Audrey and I talk about that. We talk about racism in America. We talk about the police system, Austin music scene, and the racism therein, and what we can do to correct it. So now, without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with the outspoken and amazingly talented Audrey Campbell from Pleasure Venom. Let's get down. Do you
Times are strange.
do you wear earplugs at all on stage?
No.
It's hard to
bad.
get into it, isn't it?
As a vocalist, it's very hard.
Yeah.
I think it's damn near impossible. I know they have like, I gotta look into it because I know I should care about my ears more.
I have them. I have the ones you get made, and they only take out a certain amount of volume.
Yeah, I just wondering if I would even like those because I just like being pummeled in the face with like sound.
Yep.
I've had my hearing tested. Surprisingly, I'm okay still. I don't know. I have really strong ears. I have no fucking idea. Because it's like, oh, there's a short and a mic. Okay, I got you in both ears now. Sick. Well, kind of.
You know what I did yesterday, Audrey? I don't normally do this, even when guests have been on before. Mm-hmm. But I walk in the morning, and then yesterday I was like, man, it was pretty recent that I did that last time I did Pleasure Venom, right? So I look back, and it wasn't even a year ago, right before your UK tour, right?
It was like around this time, like it was like July, August, if I remember. So, yeah.
So I listened to it, and it's interesting. The stuff that we covered in like the first 10 minutes is very, very, very tied into what's happening right now in America, race-wise.
Yeah.
We got like right into it from the top of it, and I through the whole thing. I was trying to find a way to talk about your music.
Yeah, I'm constantly always railing on that black shit since record number EP number 1, basically. There's a song called Master that was about like Trayvon Martin. There's a line where I'm like just trying to get some goddamn Skittles, like Trayvon Martin. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's just like, it's something that's been ingrained in Pleasure Venom since like I first started. It's just my reaction to like current events, and it just kind of spills over into music. It's not on purpose. Sometimes I'll like write a song and I'll look back and I'll be like, oh, that shit was on the news and that was going on and ended up in like a lyric somewhere. I don't know. It's really, it's very, I don't know. It's been really jarring. Are we starting a podcast now?
Oh yeah, we're going.
Okay.
Here, will you do me a favor?
Right,
Will you lean up a little bit more on that mic?
Oh yeah,
it sounds good when you're close on it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I can do that. Most of the time when we're recording, Elliot's like away from the mic because I'm so fucking loud. So I can be all up on her. So I don't know. It's been really odd and kind of jarring, like with all the protests and chains or people just adding you, and which is a good thing. But out of the times, I kind of felt a little jarred by it because I want people to be into my music because it's good, not because I'm black. Do you know what I mean? So,
right.
And also like from day one, I've kind of always been talking like Black Lives Matter shit. Yeah. And it took this long. I felt a little angry that it took people so long to kind of get. I felt like almost like a nuisance sometimes because like, oh, here's Audrey gonna be talking that black shit. But I don't know. I always looked at it more of like a human rights issue, not so much like, I don't know. Like whenever you hear about Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy getting gunned down because he's playing with a toy, you know, that's a kid. I don't look at it as like a little black kid. I don't know. I just felt like very jarred by. It was honestly the first week of the protest was really fucking hard for me because people are kind of like caring about the band more, but this isn't how I wanted them to care about it, you know, out of like tragedy, in my opinion. So it's something I kind of struggle with. But the main thing I kind of heard is like they're listening now, you know. Yeah, we can use it. I'm not gonna like be so hard on people. Like it doesn't matter how you're here now. Now what are we gonna do? Yeah. You know. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I'm not so angry about it. I'm more just kind of like open. There was like the alternative press article. Like that shit's wacky. You know. It was nice to be written about recently, not about my blackness, just about the music. Yeah. When I initially wrote about it, it was like 11 people of color bands that deserve to be heard, which is great. And I thought it was kind of cool because I used to read alternative press when I was a kid. Yeah. You know, I think I bought like a 9 Inch Nails like cover or something like that. Like I remember that shit.
I actually, 20 years ago, I was in that magazine and Jason interviewed me. Oh, nice. And I've stayed in touch with him ever since. Yeah. Like, I think when he's a fan of your band, he's a fan of your band.
That's great. No, he was really cool. And I loved his questions because they were just so like, I don't know. The last few interviews I was doing was so like more black catered. And I was still kind of healing from like I don't know, whenever you hear about George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, you know, it's like I'm literally just trying to survive. I don't have time to teach people. I'm trying to heal myself. Like that shit hits me particularly really hard, you know? So it's kind of, I had to kind of self-care and take a step back, you know, just to kind of make sure I'm okay before I can start trying to like do anything for anybody else other than myself right now. Right. And that's like every Black person on the planet. And I remember like on Facebook, people are like, teach me. And I'm like, dude, I can give you references of books to read, but it is not my fucking job to teach anyone right now whenever I'm literally mourning. I mean, the whole world should be mourning. That's my whole thing. You know, we all should be taken, but I'm like, particularly if you're Black right now, like we just needed a moment to kind of like, you know, breathe and take in all the shit that's going on. I'm going to be really honest, like at the start of all this like quarantine and shit, I thought it was going to be more of a, do you hear music?
When I look at you, I hear music.
Oh my God. It's probably coming from my headphones. Oh, yep. I've got Spotify in the background. That was making me fucking crazy. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God.
What do you have to say for my comedy improv skills?
It's great.
Okay, thank you.
It's fucking great. So, what was I even saying? I thought the revolution or like protests and shit was going to be more about capitalism. Because I'm being honest, like I didn't think people were ready to talk this Black shit or even address racism or racism in this country. I just didn't think people were ready for it. So, I mean, I was really surprised. Mainly because like you see stuff like millionaires and billionaires made like $465 billion off of quarantine. It's only been a few months while they only gave us $1,000 one time and be like, that's enough. Or what was it? $1,200, whatever. But like they only gave us $1,200. So I thought it was going to be more of like, you know, like more about classism. Like I thought I knew there was going to be a protest or some kind of pushback because people are getting, or I felt like the people were getting really frustrated. Yeah. But then George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and then people started realizing, I guess that never realized it before. I really think it was people, particularly white people there's no football, there's no sports going on. There's nothing to distract anybody. They're all stuck at home, whether you're rich, poor, whatever. And George Floyd died. And for once, you don't have the time to be distracted. There's no concerts. There's nothing. So there's just like a spark, you know, and I was fucking surprised that people actually took to the streets about racism in America. I just never, it's what I've always wanted, you know, people to actually pay attention to this. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question. Like, how do I feel kind of talking this Black shit for a minute? You know, I was very, it was complex. It was a lot of emotions.
I can imagine. Yeah.
You know, I've just been kind of dealing with it, taking a break from social media, you know, just kind of doing, we started writing a record, you know.
Good.
That helped a lot. I mean, we dropped the new, what is it? We went and shot, that was like in May before all this started, too.
Oh, that's when you shot that? Oh, that's a really, really, really great video.
Thank you.
Like people are trying to do, like I'm singing to my phone in my living room. Yeah. In my studio. It's all kind of weird, but you guys took a creative step that gave it a little bit of extra sauce.
It was so DIY, like we didn't know what we were doing. It was just more like, I miss playing music and we were stuck at home and I'm so angry about like Texas was opening up. We all were getting sent back to fucking work. We didn't want to go back, you know? So we're just like, fuck it, let's get together and play some music. I think we had one practice where we wore like masks and we're like on other ends of the room. Yeah. And then we went out and shot that on a Saturday. It was really fucking hot, you know? I was like, I was thinking about adding like 6 songs. I'm really glad we chose with 4 because the heat and like Thomas, our drummer, I was like, he's baking, but I'm like, dude, you're playing so good. We need to put you in the fucking heat more.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, do you want to stay out here for 4 hours or 2? You know,
what's funny because in May, I bet you thought like, oh, we'll do these 4 songs, and in like 6 weeks or 2 months, we'll be playing again.
But I mean, it's always so up in the air.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was all so up in the air too. So I mean, it was just kind of like an idea I had where it's like I always thought it would be cool to shoot something at Lars's backyard. You know, I think it's really cinematic. I love the car in the background.
Yeah.
And she has like this black top, like a basketball court.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought it'd be really cool to either do a video or a live shoot, like a session there.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of tied down that, you know, all this going on, we could like actually do this, like, and still keep like a distance away from each other, because we didn't know what was going on really that much in May either. So we had these 2 songs. We wanted to do 2 songs that we like miss playing so much, and then 2 songs that were new that we were working on that we wish we could test out on people. Like, that's usually how Pleasure Venom goes. Like, we'll be writing, but we're always doing shows and testing out these songs, and then we go in the studio. Everything's all fucking backwards now. You know, I just wanted some kind of like control over. It just felt like the only option of like getting our music out. And it's funny you brought the live streams, because it's like, I just didn't think it was like the best way to introduce this new music. I haven't really seen a live stream, and I don't want to knock anybody. You know, we all miss playing music. Like, I fucking get it. But I haven't seen a live stream really with like a live band with drums that sounds as loud as we do.
Yeah.
I'm still really big on quality. Like, I don't want to give up the quality of the music. And I like to sound super tight. I don't want like a little freeze, and I was seeing all that.
I know exactly
I'm like,
what you mean. Yeah.
And I also don't want to buy equipment, like to ask musicians right now to buy equipment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to put everything into this record.
Yeah.
And making dope videos for it, and, getting good studio time and working with like good engineers and mixing and mastering it like down the way that I want it to. Like, to me, that's been the plan since before all this started. We were supposed to be we had a bunch of shows booked all the way till like July, all gone, all that revenue just fucking down the fucking drain. So,
and that revenue
we have right now.
That revenue, sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay.
That revenue you were going to use to fund the album.
Yeah, okay. That's how we always do it. Like merch sales and merch from shows and show money. That's how we fund music videos. That's how we like do everything, and we're just DIY as hell. Like, it pays for like studio time, photos, just everything that we need from the band. Like, we're just so into gigging, and now that's gone, so it's been very, I don't know. So we're just trying to keep busy because we didn't know what the hell was going on. So
was there a way to monetize that video at all?
We just kind of want to give something for fans. I didn't even think
totally,
about that.
Totally
like, honestly, I thought about it like maybe a few days later, because I see people watching it. Like, I'm not stupid. Right. Hi, musicians. Like, we're always looking for, not looking for ways to make money, but I'm like, it's just something in the back of your head. Like, I can't play for free because I have to pay for things. Yeah. And we've been kind of bombarded with like requests for live streams for benefits, and it's all great causes, and I've done all the benefits, but I'm just trying to eat here, man. Yeah. And I'm like, what they don't understand is like, for that shoot, we had to hire Elliot from Ringo. Yeah. He also co-produced and engineered our last record, and we're working with him again for this record.
Oh, good. I was going to ask that.
Literally saw him last weekend.
Yeah.
No, he's great. Like, and we got a lot done. It was like a grueling couple days. It was great. And we're working on a full length now too. So we're going to take her time, give her some loving. Instead of like the last album, we did it in 2 days. We did it in 2 days, tracked 6 songs in one day, and then did, I think, like little tweaks earlier today, and the rest of the day was just me tracking my vocals. It was insane, so hard.
But don't you feel like there's an urgency to your music? Mm-hmm. There's like an urgency that needs to come out on the record too, right. And I feel like that is it really boosts the urgency to do it, because your last EP is like, well, both of them. I mean, there are all 3 of them. They're like getting kicked in the nuts. You know what I mean? With like the intensity that you're doing. Yeah. I mean, that's like whatever it is that you bring. And I know I said this before, but like after you left last time, I can't remember who it was I called, but I remember calling a friend of mine and being like, "Have you ever heard Pleasure Venom?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Dude, I'm like, you were very intimidating to me. You're like one of the most charismatic human beings I've ever met. There's something about that, and you convey this intensity in music that's insane, and it almost makes me feel like maybe you should always make your records in 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of work. Like the idea for this record is to have a fuck ton of songs to choose from. So I work really well under pressure. I like the pressure cooker. I'll have the goal of like 4 songs in 2 days. You know, like it's just not as, we've always done 2 days, 6 songs. But I just really want, it's still a lot of pressure. Elliot is specifically very, I love working with him though, because it's just like, he hears everything. He plays everything. I don't know. He's like one of my favorite peoples in the studio now. He's so important to that sound to me.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he can play drums, he can play guitar. His input is so important to me. Like as far as just like, a lot of times he'll be saying shit that I was about to say. Do you get that? Do you get what I mean? Like if he wasn't there, I would be saying it. And I'm like, holy shit, we have the same brain. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really cool.
Yeah. He's a really talented guy. So I'm a huge Ringo Death Star fan.
Me too.
They're fucking great. Yeah.
Yeah. I love their the newest record. It's fucking sounds really good.
So did you have plans? You must have had some kind of plans for South by Southwest and stuff, right?
Yeah, we had a whole week. A lot of money just fucking gone, man.
Oh, it was money too?
Yeah, it was like probably going to be one of our more profitable South bys because I don't know. We've been playing for like 5-6 years now. I really just, I don't know. I just really wanted to. South by is always really hard. We've done it where we did like 6, 7, 8 shows in a week, like show a day or whatever. We've done all that shit. And I didn't want to break my neck. And I'm like, I want the shows that we do to pay us. And like, we actually worked out our fucking wonderful manager, Lars. Like, all the shows paid mostly, you know, like there were a few fun ones, like, but overall, like they were all pretty fun shows and they were working out guarantees for us. Cause that's just something that I've had a lot of pushback on. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or because I'm Black, but it's like, I try to harp on that we promote the hell out of our shows and shit. Like,
I definitely, I don't.
The Jackie Vincent shit happened. It was like, I've had that fucking conversation, you know, and it's like, you have to sell it to them, you know, it's fucking crazy, you know?
I think Jackie's impact was timing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main reason why people listen. I'm like, I'm over people wanting to be about like, we should support Black musicians. I'm like, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Put your money into backing the Black Lives Music Fund.
Yeah.
Like, that's asking for 50% of the live music fund to be allocated towards Black people. And Black people are going to be the ones allocating the money to ourselves because so underrepresented, so neglected in the scene. Like, it's usually one Black artist. That's exactly what happened with the Jackie Vincent thing. They dropped her and they were going to replace her with another Black person acting like we don't talk to each other. Like, that's not okay. Tokenism, you know, like you can't fucking, like, we're all fighting for basically one slot. Like with us, it's like Black exploitation or pleasure. Like, it's bullshit. Those are my homies, guy. I don't want to fight with them for a slot. And we all talk to each other, you know, like it's silly. Like, I want people to actually give a shit about, it's something that we can be doing now, because if we're not putting our money where our mouth is, and that money is there, you know, like we shouldn't wait for the next time we might have funds like this towards music. Like, use it now, give it, it's 50%. But like, if you really think about it, it's like a lot of the music industry here is built off of Black artists and Black genius, dude. It's just facts. Like, I don't know. It's just something that I feel like people should get behind, because it's just like we've been severely neglected in the scene. Like, it's just crazy. Okay, best way I can put it is like hip hop. It's the most popular genre in America, but we live in this fucking bubble of Austin. They completely shoved down hip hop artists. Yep. And there's a lot of great hip hop musicians here.
Yes.
Like, I love Chief and the Doomsday Device. Like, this artist, like, he's so fucking, he works with Moody Blackler. I'm sure y'all might not know, but he works with like Chris Condi, who's like San Antonio, but he plays here a lot. And he's like, yeah, I've been seeing it. Like, Austin is pretty fucking racist whenever it comes to like the music scene. You know, it's something that they haven't wanted to address, but I'm like, Jackie's addressing it. Like, this is our reality. If we don't play ball, we're replaced. We're replaceable, you know? And it's like off of I mean, how can you call it Blues on the Green and not book Black people? How can you say that there are no Black headliners? How can you even say that? Like, if you really think about it, like, most of the most of the artists that really hit outside of Texas are fucking Black. I'm talking about Gary Clark Jr., Black Pumas. And if you just want to talk about Texas,
Leon
there's
Bridges.
like, yeah, if you want to just
Lizzo.
talk about Texas, Erykah Badu, fucking
Badu.
iconic. Fucking Beyonce. Come on.
Lizzo.
How dare you even say that? Like, dude, you should be probably fired. Yeah. Like, I don't really want to name, like, y'all know who the fuck I'm talking about. Like, it makes no sense. How do you have your job? And how are you the head of booking anything if you can say that? And the caliber of talent in this town, I mean, if you want to include myself, I don't care. You know, but I'm just kind of like, I have a lot to say. I've been fucking hitting this shit hard for a few years now. But at the same time,
I think you're a fucking monster. I mean, like, in a good way. Like, like, you're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
And you're a badass.
Yeah, and it's like, as far as like intimidating or whatever, I'm like, I've been very unwavering of like, you know, you don't want to fuck with me, keep it moving. Like, I'm gonna keep doing my shit irregardless. Like, at this point, like, we've been like, some labels have reached out to us. Like, my thing is just like, we're DIY as fuck, and we have a very strong team. We had 5-6 years of practicing how to do this shit on our own. So if you're not able to offer me something that I can't do myself, like, I make my own videos, you know, we have our own photographers that we love working with, you know, like, if you don't have something we can offer, like, why do you want to get a cut out of my work? You know, like, unless you're offering me something that I can't do myself. Yeah. You know, I don't know. But it's like, we've had lots of practice of doing this by ourselves. Like, I don't know. Get in.
There was a time. Do you remember this artist, Ani DeFranco?
Yeah, actually I do.
She's like a super famous DIY person. Mm-hmm. Like, she got to the point where she was selling, like, you know, 750,000 records on her own through her own label.
Holy shit.
And when the labels came and they're like, okay, yeah, we want to sign you. She's like, what the fuck can you do for me, bro?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Exactly. I mean,
like,
she
could sell 5 million records. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's crazy. It did kind of force me to kind of like, now that I'm thinking about it, it did kind of force me to like think outside of Austin, because I felt so ignored here, you know? And there was a buddy of mine, he was just like, it wasn't until the Kathleen Hanna shout out, like, people actually gave a shit about me here, honestly. And then Garbage and shit like that. But it just kind of like, that was just, I didn't really like let it knock me. I just kind of like, okay, I just need to kind of think outside of Austin. I need to tour more, you know, like, you can't be here.
That's the one thing I think that there is this also, not only is it have all these weird things in the scene where, like, hip hop and pop music don't exist.
Very odd.
And they're the biggest things when you leave the city limits. They're the biggest thing in the world. But there's also, oh man, I lost my train of thought when I said that. Sorry.
It pisses you off. That's why it pisses me off. Like, I laugh a lot and shit because I just don't know what else to do. Everything's so stupid sometimes. Like, I have to laugh. I feel like the music scene here,
sorry.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. Is that okay. I feel like there is and I've lived here since 1991, and I've had residencies and stuff. But there's never a thing where, like, oh, I'm just going to live in Austin and make a living being a musician. You can't do that in any town. You got to get out of the town and go spread the word places. You know.
I mean, I think it's just a part of being a musician. Like, people will be like, oh, that's narcissistic. Da, da, da. I'm like, I don't know. You have to promote your fucking music. I don't really care what you think. I can listen to myself over and over again. Yes, I can. If that's narcissistic, but I know how to listen to myself. I know how to listen to music like I'm not making it. I listen to it like, if I never heard of my band, would I be bopping this? You know, and that's all like we try to do is make like our favorite fucking music. And then that's why it's kind of a mismatch, because I kind of like everything. I was raised around all kinds of music, and I kind of fell into this punk rock shit just because of mood, I guess. And like a lot of times whenever I first started like screaming or whatever, it was just kind of like on accident. They're like, hey girl, you got a good scream over there. Yeah. You know, but I kind of like fuck with like soulful patterns too. And even with writing, I try to fuck with like repetition, how much I can get away with. And then a lot of times, like I wear my heart on my sleeves kind of person. I didn't have the best childhood. Like a lot of that shit comes from like a real guttural place. And there's times whenever I'm like, I don't know, playing a show and I'll see like stories or something. And I'm like, I don't remember doing that. Like fucking blacked out because I'm just so into like, I really get into like the energy of like feeding off of people. I miss shows so much. Fuck.
Yeah. So this is not, I mean, that's another thing about punk rock music. I think that you definitely have to, there has to be some catharsis involved with what you're getting something out. Yeah. I think it should be that way in any kind of art, but in punk rock, if you're not getting something out, then what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like people, I mean, I said it in the article, but I really do feel like people can smell bullshit a mile away. Like it has to come from a real place. Like I like watching bands where I'm like, I believe that's what they're about. Yeah. That's what they're saying. And they're, you know, it's like, I can read when it's performative. I can read whenever it's like, I don't know. It's just like, we're going to wear dresses just because it's weird. You know, like fuck off. Like, dude, you're not even gay. Like, what is this shit? You know, like, I don't know. It's just,
you're not making fun of my band photo that photographer posted from 20
I don't know what
years
you're
ago.
talking about. I'm just like, there's like weird things that I see where it's just kind of like placating to a certain scene, but not being about it.
Okay.
You know, all of a sudden
I thought you were attacking me, and I was like,
pro guys wearing dresses, straight or gay.
Yeah, there was a store here in the 90s called Garbagogo that catered to the strippers. And a photographer friend of mine was tapped to do their ad, and he went to the lady and said, what if I got these dudes in this rock band to wear your clothes and make out? And so that's what's happening. I'll send you the picture. That. Yeah.
Please send it to me. I don't mean to knock anybody.
No, but yeah.
I'm just like, a lot of times I'm just riffing. I'm like, I feel like I'm going to get canceled so hard one day because of my mouth. Like, I don't give a shit. Do it. Fucking cancel me. I don't give a shit. Fine.
What do you? I was just talking to my cousins on a Zoom like an hour before we started talking, and we were asking each other, hey, do you know anybody that's gotten canceled? Like, do you have any friends that have gotten it? Because I have a lot of lecherous fucking.
Do you have a lot of people that have been canceled?
I know
in your
a lot.
Life?
No, I don't. But I mean, I know a lot of dudes that have been singers in a rock band for a long time, and you know.
Not
there's
anybody
some nefarious
like super
action
close
going
to
on.
me. Not anybody like super close to me. Maybe like years ago, it kind of rocked. I don't really want to talk about it that much because I have friends that were in bands with that person. But like, I know one person, but overall it's been like, I try to, for as much shit as I talk or whatever, I stay the fuck out of drama. Like, I don't have time for that shit. Do y'all not have like jobs or like records to do? Like I was either working full time or working this fucking band. I don't have time to be pulled into local bullshit. Like, I don't care. I just usually stay the fuck out of it, especially if it doesn't involve me. It's just kind of like, y'all figure it out yourselves. I can't really like, I got shit to do, you know, and I'm usually all by myself doing it. Like, I felt so isolated whenever I first, like, I didn't have anybody take me under their wings or anything like that. I just kind of had to figure it out myself and make my own friends. And like, over time I met like Lars and Blaxploitation and like, you know, there's Papa Burns. There were like a few bands that like, you know, we played together quite a bit. You know, otherwise, you know, there were venues like Chip Charlie's and Hotel Vegas that would, you know, I'd play there, you know, and they would give me an opportunity and shit like that, you know. I'm always grateful for that because I'm like, otherwise the shit wasn't happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a very cliquey, it's a scene of gatekeepers to be the Austin music scene. Like, people are always like, to this day, like, we've been written about in all kinds of fucking international whatever.
Yeah.
There's a glass ceiling and Jackie exposed it. Like, they don't think we could be fucking headliners. They don't think, you know, like we can actually draw, but I'm like, you don't give us opportunities to do that, you know, but I'll see like, and it's like no shade. I feel like anytime I spoke about this, like as a Black woman, they're going to look at me as like being bitter or whatever. And it's like, I don't want to seem bitter whenever I see like a white band that's been around for like a year playing these fucking big fucking audiences. You know, it's opportunity, you know, and I don't want to knock what kind of music I'm hearing, but I'm like, the most interesting music to me has always been made by people of color, queer people, Black people. You know, it's just because you can hear that struggle, you know what I mean? And that's the music that I personally think is the most interesting, you know, in women. You know, I love hearing more women voices in the scene, you know? So I don't know.
I mean, there's also, I feel like with the gatekeepers, there's also like, there's been sort of a system set in place. And
Yeah,
that
the old
system,
guard doesn't work anymore.
I believe that system is racist. You know, not overtly, but it is. You know
It
what I
is.
mean? I
Yeah,
don't think.
not-
I don't
no
think.
one's out there calling anyone the N-word or anything like that,
Right,
but it's
right.
like it's doing everything but it's
Right.
saying that you're not welcome at the table. It's not inviting you at all and saying, and also like if they do, it's like there's one slot and you better be grateful kind of attitude.
Yeah.
You know, it's bullshit.
Well,
You know,
I
it's very
think-
condescending.
Yes, it is, and it's also once again, I do believe it's laziness on the part of people who book those things in a sense of both of these people are friends of mine. All of these people are actually friends of mine. Andy Langer has been a
Okay,
very
yeah, I'm
dear,
like the obvious, like
dear friend of mine for almost 30 years. But I also, I mean, it's not like I've never had a gripe with the dude.
You have to hold your friends accountable, though. Like,
Exactly,
come on.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
If that's
And-
a good friend, like that's been a conversation. It's just like, well, I thought we were friends. I'm like, dude, we gotta hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Come on, like
Yeah.
if we're friends.
But what I know is that the laziness comes from for whatever decades. Bob Schneider and Kevin from Shiny Ribs, they know that they can fill up a thing, and it's their laziness of not trying to create new avenues for new music people, including people
Yeah.
of color. But there's a lot of you know, it's not like there's any like it. Sometimes when you see those lineups in this town, and I'm 51. You know,
Right.
I had my sort of heyday 20 years ago and 25 years ago. Now I'm on this. I don't expect to be playing the Austin Chronicle Music Awards because it's time for someone else. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like that when I look at the lineup. I always kind of laugh and go like, "Is there no fucking new music here? Like it's not even
Yeah.
like black or white. It's like." These guys are stuck in this sort of like and nothing against him. That I love that
Yeah.
guy. He is a very
I don't
dear
know
friend
him,
of
so
mine.
I don't want to like knock him
And
at all.
No, but unfortunately, he is in the position to be knocked because he's not trying to be part of the problem. He's just taking the fucking gigs that are being offered to him, like
Yeah.
either of us would, right?
I know a few bands like that in town too. So just
And
kind
so,
of like,
it, unfortunately, people have been lazy and they just kind of like keep worshiping the same shit they've been worshiping the whole time, as opposed to like opening new doors. Oh, maybe like, and nothing against Gary. Maybe Austin doesn't need another fucking blues guitarist. Maybe they need a fucking, you know,
yeah. No, I hear you.
more black exploitation.
That's the thing. It's like they find one and they're like, okay, we're only gonna book Gary Clark Jr. like a million fucking times, and like I can name that throughout my whole like career in Austin. It's just like there's always like one or two, and it's like that's good enough. And I'm like, it's not, because there's a bunch of black people in town that are like, why are we fighting for one fucking slot? I don't want to be in competition with my people. You know, like it's not right. It's just wrong. Like I also it kind of ties into what I was gonna say. That it's just laziness. That's pretty much it.
And I mean, that's the thing is like people need to become less lazy, more open-minded, and I mean laziness even on my part with doing the show, because I'd be like, I don't know any hip hop guys. Well, I need to get out and find them. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's where like the Black Lives Music Fund too. It's like a lot of that money will be used to make like our own venues. You know, give money to our own up and coming artists to promote themselves, since we've given Austin the chance. Like, I think it's time, you know, like to let us curate ourselves. You know, it just feels like about time. I don't know, just different like art, educational, online and traditional, like tech promotion, online radios, websites, you know, like that's just kind of some of the ideas that are flowing with the Black Lives Music Fund pretty much.
Is that the thing Chaka?
Yeah, Shaka's talking
Okay.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like something that I've been kind of reading into, and I watched the initial, like the
Zoom
Music
meeting.
Commission meeting. Yeah, whenever he was introducing it, and I saw the pushback on it, and it's just
it
kind
was
of
pretty
like
intense.
more people kind of need to know about it to kind of know that this is the direction that Austin needs to make, as far as supporting Black artists instead of just like being performative and saying, I support you or adding me to a playlist. That's great. Please share my music. That's awesome. I think it's great. I felt a way about it, but now I don't. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just, it just feels like it's time. Like we have this money, you know, it's just time to start actually putting money into Black artists.
Yeah.
You know, it's just stop talking about it, be about it. Like, I really don't know what else to say, you know, as far as that. Yeah. So, I forgot we were talking about like gatekeepers and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just a weird town of that. Like, I'm kind of over having to go through people. Like, so you said like Andy Langer, like, I don't really know him at all, but why should I? He, you know, like, I don't know. Like, he's in a different world. It seems like to me, like, I do this punk rock shit. He does Bob Schneider. I don't know, you know, I didn't know him, but it's just kind of like, that makes sense why ACL will never reach out to me if that's how he feels. There's no Black headliners. I'm not going to get an opportunity here, you know? So that's why I'm like, it's funny. I've been talking to like a lot of Black artists, like all over, like we've been reaching out to each other because like we've been all these lists about Black musicians and stuff. And I'm like, we've actually been talking to each other and getting to know each other. It's great. But what I realized is that we all are kind of putting in extra fucking work. Most of them have gone to the fucking UK because we have to. Do you get what I mean? Like, most artists I talk to here mainly tour the States, you know, which is great, you know, but it's like, it's a very odd thing that I realized, like, we're just doing the fucking most as far as like touring, all of it, you know, putting out consistent release. Like, we've been putting out releases and videos like pretty consistently over the past few years. Like, I'm constantly working. Constantly working in this band. I have 2 full-time jobs basically. Well, at the moment 1, but yeah.
You check all the boxes. I mean, like you've grown.
I don't know what else I have to do.
You've grown musically. Every record is a step, and I know we talked about this last time. Every record that you've made, every EP you've made, has been an artistic step.
Just really trying to push myself.
You tour outside of the country. You tour with like legitimate fucking million-selling rock bands.
Yeah.
Of the world that love you.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I love them too. I love like Garbage and shit. Like, I still fucking talk to Shirley. I was like, shit's crazy. And like, I don't know, like with the last lineup change, it was kind of like difficult. I think I was really burnt out from touring and shit too. Like, I just kind of didn't stop. And I came back and worked and I kept doing a bunch of shows. Then we went to the UK and I was just like really fucking burnt out. And I was kind of ready to like maybe put a pin in it. I don't know, or I have no idea what I was thinking. I was not okay, basically. I can laugh about it now. I don't know. I'm still here. That's funny.
I mean, then when the lockdown first came, I know you had to cancel a bunch of South by stuff. Was there any part of you that was slightly relieved though, that you're like, okay, now I have to take a break. I don't have a fucking choice.
I don't want to lie to you. Yes. Because
I think everyone was like that.
I literally look at South by as like one of the hardest weeks. You know, it's just, it's a lot. I'm exhausted. I usually am sick by the end of it.
Yeah.
Always. I've never, it's the allergies, honestly, and the singing. It just kind of like, I know how to sing correctly. I feel like where it's like, I got really advice from like an old roommate where I kind of just started screaming and he's just like, oh, you're hoarse. You should not be hoarse after you sing.
No.
And I was like, oh, and I went and looked up a bunch of vocal shit, you know, and I learned how to use that muscle correctly.
Yeah.
You know, and where I can talk to you like this after a set, and you should, you know, but I would just like be legit sick after every South by, which you can't really bother being hoarse after that. It just happens. I was a little relieved. I talked to like Sabrina from A Giant Dog, and we'll just kind of like, this is like maybe a year or so ago. And yeah, we're just kind of like, oh, we don't want to talk about work. Like, we're just like, it's jarring. That fucking week is just a lot of talking to people.
Yeah.
Yelling over music. I think that's what gets me. Like, they'll be like, what's your band? I'm like, Pleasure Venom, over like loud fucking music.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that shit. So yeah.
I'm glad you.
I was a little relieved, but I like the money that we were gonna make, and that's just whatever. We'll be fine.
Man, I think Lars should manage more bands if she's getting bands paid during South by Southwest. She's a genius.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like she's
her.
A good microphone for me.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. I don't want to get into too much tea with us, but like she's always been really supportive of like understood me as a Black artist and never wanted to like change me, but highlight, you know, the things she thinks that like people should hear from me. You know, it's not, it's a very, I love our relationship. She's like a really good friend of mine. And it's kind of grown through this business that we're trying to like build together. But like, she legit like fucking gets me. It's really great to have someone like her on my team.
Yeah.
You know, our team is really strong. Like our current bassist right now edited our video, that live video. We got his homie Austin and Lars buddy. Like, I mean, he's been a friend of the band for Don Ray Herms to do the cameras. Elliot came out and did sound from like a million miles away because he has a 4-month-old.
Yeah.
So we're being hyper careful. You know, I don't know. We just have a pretty good team of people right now. I love it.
I think that's great. Can I ask you
I feel very supported. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Can I ask you a question? You said that she doesn't tell you to tame or tone down or change.
Nope.
Have people told you that? Because there's I mean,
all the time.
You're
I've gotten
intense-
roasted online because it's just like, she's the angry Black girl, blah, blah, blah. Also, she's fat. I'm like, bitch, if you think I'm fat, you're stupid. Like, I mean, also, what's wrong with that if I was? You know, it's just fucking stupid. The internet, I don't care. Like, it's just the stupidest thing. All these people are fucking cowards. Anyone that goes on the internet to talk about anyone is a fucking coward. Also, I don't hide in this town. Everybody knows where to fucking find me. Like, you can knock on my fucking door. Like, I don't care. Like, it's it's fucking stupid. Like, I don't respect the internet. I spit at it. It's fucking dumb.
it is, man.
Yeah. So
It is.
you just kind of learn not to care. There was like one time I think Garbage shared some of our stuff and some of the comments got like really weird. Like, I don't know. And she's just like, don't read the comments. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah, no.
It's just stupid. These
No.
people are fucking idiots and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They have no idea how much work we put into this record. Like, I think the idea was just like, oh, Garbage was putting us on. But we've been around for like 5 years before that, putting in fucking work. Any success that I have is fucking earned. I fucking deserve it.
Yeah, man.
You don't work this hard. Everybody in this band works hard. Everyone in the old lineup, every lineup that, like, I appreciate their work so much because it's like they put in so much work into this fucking band.
Right.
You know, so
It's funny because I mean I'm a strong believer that you should pay your dues and spend time on stage and
Totally.
and learn a craft. But there are some people in this world that start out fully formed.
right.
And were you like that? Because you don't seem like you were like real shy and like eventually you had to become this version of Audrey.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was a time, probably like early 20s, that I was kind of like figuring it out. I was pretty lost. You know, I was just kind of jarred from childhood shit. I was really angry, really pissed off, got really depressed. I don't think I want to talk about that. Shit got dark, okay? Shit got really dark. And I kind of had to dust off and, I know, learn how to love myself. You know, look in the mirror and be like, I don't hate you. You know, I think I talked to a therapist a little bit. That helped a little. But I really had to kind of like, I came out of some really dark shit, relationship shit. And I probably took a year off from dating, like in general, just because I felt like I probably went on 2 dates and I felt like both those guys were just the same dude. And I'm like, what is wrong with my picker that I'm picking these assholes? I'd rather just be alone and look in the mirror and be like, what's wrong? Learn how to love yourself and like have fucking, you know, standards for yourself, you know, don't fall for these dickheads or whatever, guy or girl. Like, I guess I like identify as, I don't ever really talk about it because it just doesn't fucking matter. It's no one's business, but like bisexual, if it pan probably more than anything, it's just like, I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to, you go fuck off. No one's business. Right. But, it just kind of seemed like the same people, you know? So I don't know, that kind of taking time off to like learn to love myself. I kind of came out a different person. Also, I was much older too, like mid-20s at that point. So starting the band was kind of like this vehicle to kind of get that out, all these. That's why I feel like I really love the first album. It's just the first EP, just because it's pretty raw.
Yeah.
It is kind of directed towards a certain person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just like, it's called Hunt because it's like, we're both doing this back and forth and just fucking each other over, you know?
Yeah.
It's all there, but it's also like in a point of view of a woman, like a Black woman, you know? So, I I feel like as far as Pleasure Venom, I was pretty much formed, and I've just been trying to find musicians to match my energy, and like the first EP was kind of, I look at it like in different phases. Like phase 1 was the first album. It was kind of an experiment, I try not to give everybody like any rules other than like, I like to dance. Like I want to make some dancey shit, but I also love big loud guitars. Yeah. Other than that, we kind of left it open, and we kind of fell into this bass heavy rhythmic thing whenever we found Thomas. And he's like the other only original member that's played on every record since that one. But we play off of each other really well. And we're all big B heads, and he put like the guitars on top. And that's pretty much like we carried that on through each lineup, and just kind of grown that sound. And Lars always says she's like the most impressive thing like she thinks about me is that she's like, you're not playing any instrument in the band. Like I know how to play like a few instruments, but I'm not playing it in the band. And like as a singer, I'm able to kind of like keep a consistent and like have that sound grow. Right. Even though each record has different members, and I'm not the best guitar player or bassist or drummer, I feel pretty comfortable on drums. But I'm not. I know, but I try to stick with what I feel like I'm strong. I feel like I'm a strong lyricist and singer, and I just want to grow that. And someone told me that a long time ago, like an older cat. He's like, pick one thing, be really fucking good at it. So that's all I pretty much, because there was a point when I was doing like theater. I was a theater major. I was doing theater. I was doing photography. I was doing all kinds of shit and trying to do music. Like, it's just, you're not going to get anything done if you're just like, throwing a big broad net. Like you got to pick one thing and just be really good at it. Yeah. I mean, when you go into the arts and you go into some kind of discipline like music and stuff like that, and especially like music, it's not like a high paying job out of the gate. It's not like you have to give so much because there's always someone right behind you going to take your place at any moment. I welcome it because it pushes me. And I feel like the scene can also be really competitive, which is also like the gatekeeper shit. They're like, they don't want to let go. There's too many white people in the music scene right now that just don't want to let go of that power or share. Like you mentioned, like Bob Schneider, like he just kind of accepting all these fucking gigs instead of like being like, hey, I'm going to turn it down and make room. It's just like, it's a very competitive, but I welcome competition. Like, I'm just kind of like, to me, I can watch a band that's dope. Like, okay, our last EP, like I think it was like Ringo Death Star, Black Mercy. It was such a fun fucking lineup. And I think we threw Hot Mom on. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're amazing, like punk band. They were so new. I saw them play Antones. Like the kid was jumping on top of the record. I'm like, oh my, like on top of the record, like walking across, and he jumped off. And I'm older now, so I'm like, I don't do that anymore. I feel like I'm gonna hurt my fucking self. Like I still get it, but like I have restrictions on like how many knee drops my knees can fucking handle right now. Right. Like I have to think about these things because I had a few shows, especially during a tour, where I'm like, I really hurt myself, and I'm like, I have to take care of myself. I can't get as wacky, but they're like young, like maybe like 20, 21. And I'm like, their energy was so amazing. I'm like, I'm throwing them on the fucking bill because they're so fucking good. And I think they opened for a Mill and Sniffers like last year. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just really fucking cool. I don't know. I see bands and I'm like, that's really good. I'm not intimidated. I want to uplift fucking bands. And I only wish people would do the same because I didn't get that whenever I first started in the scene. Nobody, if anything, I just felt like people were like, I felt super isolated. I just felt like people were trying to ignore us, try to stuff me down like I don't exist. And I'm sorry. I kind of am a loudmouth. I won't be ignored. What is it? Be so good that they can't ignore you. Right. So I don't care if it was Kathleen Hanna that got it and then made people fucking get it. They fucking get it now, hopefully. Yeah. Yeah. And it might not be for everybody. I feel like our band is really niche, but we work really hard.
Yeah. It shouldn't be for everybody. The kind of music you make should piss some people off and offend some people when they hear it.
Yeah, I mean,
then you're doing something right.
The newest song were like white lie and fascist. So I'm like coming out pretty strong.
It's not for everyone.
I did like an interview earlier before we even knew any of this going on. We started writing these songs like in February. It just kind of got derailed with all this shit. Like we would have so much of this record already done, but we're just kind of like starting to kind of really get to working on it. I want to get in the studio every fucking month and like have like 2 grueling days. I can't wait. It's going to be so hard and I'm going to hate myself. I have me and Thomas both have like a love-hate thing with recording because it's just like, fuck, you got to nail it, particularly like his drums. Like he's going and fucking, you gotta have a perfect drum track. You can't punch that shit in, you know? And I know me, I'm like, I gotta be nice and warmed up. I want it to sound like live shit. Like if any critique I had of the first EP was that it didn't sound like we do live.
Right.
I thought, and I talked to like Kana from Zeta's RIP. But she produced the second record, and Elliot and her both gave me really good advice. But Elliot was the one who was like, Audrey, I don't want you to be really standing at the microphone like this, like I have right here, you know, with like the little soft screen in front of it. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to give you the fucking microphone. I want you to jump and go off like you do at fucking shows.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know? And it was like, I read that like Iggy Pop recording, I think I Want to Be Your Dog. I might, don't hold me to that, but I think it's I Want to Be Your Dog. And it's like, it was sounding like shit because Iggy Pop doesn't just stand in a fucking booth. Give him the microphone, let him go off, put the band all together. It sounds like this wall to wall, not even like, and it's so distorted for the time, but that's what that record needed to sound like. It needed to sound kind of fucked.
Yeah.
It didn't need to sound crispy clean. Like, yeah, I don't know. So it was like the same thing. I sweated in a hot box. We turned the AC off for Thomas. He got the fucking track. We learned something from the live recording. We're like, you work better
in the heat.
Yeah, I'm like, Elliot cut the fucking AC off.
Yeah.
I'm back. I think I was up talking to Lars and her, like, so the studio's in the back of her house. I'm like, I came back and he's like sweating. I'm like, the AC's working great this go around. Like, why is he all fucking, they're like, Elliot cut the fucking AC. Fucking awesome. It's great. But I mean, we still like keep the pressure on for sure for these. I want to get as much work. We're paying for it. I want to get as much work as possible.
Yeah.
So if it's 6 songs in 2 days, you know, I'm just trying to be like, I want more to pick. We've never had like songs to pick from. Those are usually just the 6 songs. We'll get the new lineup. We do the 6 songs. You know, we'll continue to write new shit, but it's just kind of like, we're probably not going to go to the studio for a second because we're going to get busy touring or whatever.
Right.
So this toe around is different.
Yeah. So what's the plan for Pleasure Venom for the next couple of months? Are you guys going to try and get in and start recording or?
Yeah, I mean, we already started. Okay. So I'm like, I kind of want to, and you can still kind of do that, not breathing in each other's mouths and stuff, you know? Yeah. The Wilshire Ranch Studios is kind of out in the country. So I'm like, you can literally see us like everyone might be having their cigarettes or whatever, but everyone's like pretty spread out, you know?
Sure.
And like, that's pretty much the plan. I just want to work on this record. We're potentially looking for backing, but I mean, pretty much I'm like, if it doesn't come out the way that I want to, like, I'm going to sit on this record. And if I feel like I need backing, I'll sit on this fucking record until we have the backing that I feel necessary. Mm-hmm. But it's too early to say, you know, because I plan like videos and shit too, like to figure out the budget of what I need.
Right.
And also trying to figure out different, I feel like this is every musician. I feel like we want to probably get into the live stream, but we have to have the correct cameras and sound. You know what I mean? Like we're looking into it, but especially if this is an extended thing, like we gotta fucking play shows. That's what we've always done. You know, so it's something that we're looking into. Other than that, like, I would love to do a session 2. So that's like Pleasure Venom Live session 1. Like, I would love to do a session 2, like another visual, like, because we want it to be like visually appealing too, which I felt like was lacking from the live stream. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
I like to see performers perform and wear their glittery dress and their big hair and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like normal, I don't feel like that should stop because of this, you know. I feel like if you're gonna do a live stream, I want to see like fucking, there's people doing green screen shit, like I don't know, still make it like a cinematic performance. And I want to knock people, like I feel like it's a great avenue. Like singer-songwriters still look fine, like playing in front of the computer.
Right,
like,
right. But no one wants to see you or see like Iggy Pop sitting in a chair with a guitar. And
I don't want to change the quality of what people expect of me because of this. So it's an experience. Like the live sessions was an experiment. Please go watch it and support it and share it.
I'll put a link to it. I'll put a link to it in the text of the podcast.
We did work really hard on it. It was really hot that day. I'm glad it doesn't look like I was a sweaty mess because we were. I don't know how that happened.
No, it doesn't look like it's hot.
We were sweating so much. Yeah.
Well,
it was a good time. It was like we just missed playing music so much. So it was great getting with the guys and playing with them again.
Sure.
Especially because they sound like Chase. We're playing with Chase Duncan on guitar, and Joe Coronado on bass right now. We've never played with a 4-piece before, but it fucking slaps. Like, we were thinking about bringing someone else in, but it just was working so well.
Yeah.
They tested out the new songs, and also we kind of just got the ball rolling with new songs. But I think a lot of it is their dynamic. And me and Thomas have our own dynamic, and we've known each other for like 6-7 years, Thomas and I. Chase and Joel have known each other since they were teenagers. They've been playing in bands and shit since they were teenagers. It's like Joel, we've known him forever. He did the album art for Hunt, the first EP. Like, we've known him that long.
Wow.
And he's somebody, like, he used to play in Shmoo, and so did Chase. All beast mode guitars. They play everything as well. Like, Joel will hop on drums, or bass, or, like they're switching instruments and shit. Like, it's fucking really fun to write with them. But
awesome.
It's also like the dynamic of us just being friends for a long time. I think Thomas introduced me to Joel, and I met Chase recently. But Joel and Chase are really good friends, so it all kind of happened. Like, they're all very similar people. So I'm like,
family.
I'm cool with Joel. Like,
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna love Chase. And I met him. I'm like, the dude's amazing. Also, I think he's one of the best shredders in Austin. I feel so fucking lucky to find him. He's
awesome.
so good. Good
Yeah.
fuck. He's so good. Like, I don't know. People are like, what's it sound like? I'm like, they're melting my brain and melting my fucking face, guy. Like, it's so, I feel, but that's like almost like the last lineup too. I'm like, they're just doing such cool, I just feel like I'm playing with some of the most talented people in town. Like, I'm just so.
That's good. You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honored. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I love that dynamic. Like, particularly like them talking to each other, they'll like get into like little, I'm like, and I imagine them like as teens kind of roasting each other about how they're playing things. I'm like, hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's fucking hilarious. I'm like,
Yeah.
do you know what y'all sound? I'll just like start laughing. I'm like, oh, it's so funny. It's great.
Do you ever do videos for other people? Have you directed?
I would
other
love to. No, not yet, but I would love to. Like, I would really love to step outside of the camera and not direct myself. I don't think
Right.
people understand how hard that is.
I can imagine.
Like, people just kind of like, oh, another play. I'm like, dude, I stayed up forever with Thomas editing this shit. I've watched it a cajillion fucking million times. And standing on top of a car while directing people in a fur coat in the middle of peak heat in May, summer nights, was not easy. And still like keep my head straight to direct other people. The deaf video too, like we had like extras and shit. And I'm like, there would be time whenever I was okay, like it was like me, Fern, Asha, and freaking Geraldine. And it's like the four of us. And there was like one scene where I'm directing them and I went back and watched playback and I was like, I forgot to give myself notes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like watching them being in the scene and I'm like, Audrey, you need to act too.
Yeah.
Little shit like that. Like I would love to just sit behind and just like watch, and direct other people.
Yeah.
Like visually, I feel like I have an eye for, I don't know, cinematography. I really,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And I'll just doodle little, they'll be like stick figures. Like it's not like the most impressive, like fucking.
Or your storyboards.
Yeah, my storyboards can be like stick figures, but I'm like, trust me, I fucking see it and it's going to be dope. Like,
Yeah.
trust me. Or I'll like, I do better with writing out like the story.
Right.
Hopefully
That
I get the props.
that stick person on that car is going to be wearing a fur coat, so you know it's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably even like show you on here. I'm sure I have it somewhere, but I'm literally like a stick figure
Yeah.
with like the box fur coat.
Of course.
And my hair like drew in big doodles. And then I drew a car, me standing on it, and the guys all around in like suits, and they all have like their little suits and stick figures and their little guitars, if you can imagine.
Dude, that's awesome.
I thought it was adorable, but I'm like, professional, probably not. Like almost like any approach to art, I'm gonna do it my fucking way. And if it ain't broke,
Yeah. Well, I like what you do
it
a
works
lot.
for me.
Your
Thank you very much.
artistic taste and musical taste and musicality is great. What is it? Trumpet, right? Trumpet's your first instrument.
Yeah, that pretty much was my introduction to like loving music the way I like appreciating it. I mean, I learned to write music, like, I don't know, listening to different, I would never be exposed to like, I have appreciation of like orchestra and symphony because of it. Like I did orchestra, I did jazz band.
Yeah.
I love Miles Davis. Like, I don't know, Maynard Ferguson, like we trumpet players. Like I just, I and I still listen to all of that. You know what I mean? To this day, like I'll put on fucking Beethoven, and, like really fucking vibe with it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It just, I feel like I probably, with my childhood, and it was really rocky. If I didn't have music, like I'm talking about marching band, like I just did it all. I was busy with marching band, jazz band, symphonic, and they all have like seasons that tie in together. You have to stay home. You have to stay after and like practice. I felt like that kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
You know, I probably
yeah.
would have been like a very different person if not for like really fucking trying to learn and get better at, you know, this art form, you know. And I hid behind a trumpet for a really long time. Like I was actually kind of shy when it came to like singing, even though like I sang myself and I thought I sounded pretty good. It took me a long time to get the confidence to like do it in front of people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I sang in church and stuff. So like, that's where I felt comfortable. Like to bring it around my friends, like I was just like, no, they're not going to like it, or they're not going to like my voice, whatever, you know?
Well, hopefully they like it now.
I hope so too. I don't know.
Is there anything I'm missing? It's always great talking to you. I really like you a lot. I'm very I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a fan of your band
so
as well,
sweet.
but I'm definitely an Audrey fan.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I have to like, no, I really appreciate it. Like, new people have been discovering the band, and I have to just learn like not to care how they found us. Sorry, am I too far away? It's just, it's, someone told me it takes like, we're on like 6 years. They were like, it takes about 6 years, and then there's like a snap. Like people just kind of start giving a shit all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It kind of started with garbage and shit. Like,
yeah, things
have kind of been like propelling, and like, I don't know, we don't have a publicist or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just like any body that ever has written about us outside of Austin or internationally, they just reach out to us somehow. And I feel like Afropunk was like the first international thing. So I probably have like a big, you know, to thank them for that. Because I feel like, I don't know, it's pretty wacky.
What?
But also it's like, we're really niche, and like, we don't have a shit ton of followers, but like the ones that stay seem like they have to, like, I'm talking about like very pointed topics. Like they have to be here because they want to hear this shit, you know? So that means a lot. Like I love like any fan of ours that rocks our shit, buys our merch, you know, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate it. And it's all helping me make a new record. It's awesome. Yeah. So that's all I want to do.
You have merch and stuff available at pleasurevenom.com?
Yeah, pleasurevenom.com. It links over to our Bandcamp.
Okay.
So
people can get over, man.
Pretty much our pleasurevenom.bandcamp.com has all our merch and stuff. Yeah, all those sales help us so much with studio time. Yeah, pretty much that's the main focus, because that's all we can do right now. Studio time, make a new record. I'm going to probably start working on the new single and the music video for that. But I really kind of want to take my time and not just like drop the record, because it's not an EP. This is a different demon. You know, I've never made a full length. I don't know how many tracks I want it to be. You know, we're going to see. I just want like a fuck ton of songs. Like I want like 30 songs and pick like the best fucking songs.
Yeah. That's,
you know, like I want to work.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
Good.
It's what
man.
I've always wanted to do, you know, so I'm like very excited.
Well, I'm excited, and people should just get out there. They should definitely check out the 4-song live video that you guys did and put out. I'll put a link to that in the thing, and also pleasurevenom.com. Get out there and pick up some merch.
Sick.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking to me, man.
Thank you, Audrey.
It's always good talking to you.
Always good talking to you, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
All right. Have a good one, y'all. Thank you.
Always a great conversation with the amazingly talented Audrey Campbell from Pleasure Venom. Find them at pleasurevenom.com. Get out there and check out their 4-song live video that they put out. I will put a link to that in the text of this podcast. Just click on that and you can watch them. Yes, you can. I want to thank Audrey for coming on the show. I want to thank her for talking about all of the race stuff, which I know is weighing on people having to explain their situation to people like me constantly. But at least when she explains it to people like me and I record it, hopefully she reaches a lot more people than just me. So hopefully you got something out of that. Don't forget you can find them at pleasurevenom.com. What a great, great fucking band. Great fucking band, baby. All right, hey gang, when you're out there checking out pleasurevenom.com, don't forget that you can find this podcast wherever it is that you stream or download podcasts. You can find it on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, on TuneIn, on Google Podcast, Overcast, Stitcher, everywhere you find podcasts, new shows all the time. I'm dropping 5 shows a week some week, but definitely 3 shows a week. We are off the 2 shows a week schedule for a while, an indefinite amount of time. So 3 shows a week, baby. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Audrey Campbell. This is their song Hive, available now wherever it is you stream and download your jams, or find them at pleasurevenom.com. Stay safe, and let's get down.